Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today's our CGC 9.8 pricing video where, I just do a little research this morning and look at those completed listings for all those CGC 9.8 key issues that we really like to keep an eye on out there and collect for sure. And you know what, I think on the last pricing video, I may have alluded to the market sort of, maybe it's lulling, like maybe it's slowing down. Obviously there's like the stimulus check environment and the coronavirus, a lot of people at home, so the market's been on fire. And mentioned last channel, maybe it's slowing down. But to be honest, based on some of the evidence I'm seeing here, I'm thinking that it's really not slowing down. And I'm pretty sure, I think some team members in the US had kind of told me that I think the stimulus checks are still kind of in play for another few weeks possibly. And I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure some team members have let me know about that. So I think this market, mentioning that it might have been lulling, I think, on the last video, I think it's still really hot given some of the evidence here. So we'll get into the full list here for sure. So they're all CGC 9.8 comic books, all US dollars, the prices as well. And I'll have a full list in the description below. If you want to kind of look at a full list with the prices and everything. I'd like to kind of look at the list while I'm watching the video to kind of follow along. So this week, got a bunch of team books from the team letting me know of some completed listings on Instagram that either they bought or they're just seeing or whatever it might be. So let's get into the team books here. So first one here is from Matthew from on Instagram, got to me, and yeah, he got a really good price here on a Star Wars 81. This is a book I recommended in my Star Wars video that we did about 3 or 4 videos ago. Star Wars 81 is the return of Boba Fett. So it was my kind of recommendation right now where Star Wars 42 is so hot. But if you wanted a Boba Fett issue, this is still one that maybe you could look at getting for a decent price. And Matthew grabbed it for a really good price. Yeah, wow. Star Wars 81. Really nice looking newsstand version. CGC 9.8 white page is looking great. For $190. This is a book I've mentioned before on the channel on these videos as selling for about $220, $225. Some people pay for this. So $190 I think is a great deal. And he's in Europe. I believe he's in Belgium. And it was really like under $20 shipping he mentioned too. So I really, relate to that because me being in Canada, really trying to search around for those less than $20 shippings to Canada because a lot of times the shipping is like $50 or $60, and I'm sure that's the case for Matthew. So a great buy, Star Wars number 81, Return of Boba Fett for $190. So next person, Jody had got to me on Instagram as well, and he picked up a mega key. Yeah, just a solid deal here, I think, in this environment and what I've been seeing from the prices in this book lately. Transformers number 1 he bought. CGC 9.8 white page is looking pretty damn good. For $711.99. And we did an auction of this one where I think one went for like $745 it was. And another one was similar to this one where it was like $710. And I think one there was like $630. So, maybe if you get lucky, you get it a little bit closer to $600 on this one. But this is, if you have a long-term time horizon with this book, I just think Transformers is really iconic. There's certainly all the people that are just love the Transformers from the 80s when the toys came out. So there's that cult. But then there's been all these amazing movies that kids are seeing and really liking Transformers. There's still Transformers toys at the store and everything like that. So I think Transformers is really just a huge brand. And to get the first, this is the first Autobots and the Decepticons. Transformers number 1, CGC 9.8 for $711.99 is an investment grade book that I would recommend. And I got a CBCS 9.8 of this one, so one luckily I do have. So Matt got to me on Instagram as well, let me know. He bought an Annihilation Conquest number 6 for $130. So that's pretty much bang on, fair value. Like if you want this book, $120, $130, I would, that's I think is a fair price for sure. Maybe in an auction, there's only a little over 100 of this book, but if you are patient in an auction, maybe you get it around 100, maybe a lick under 100 if you're really lucky. But Annihilation Conquest number 6 is the first new team Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, so 130 I think is a price to aim for and a good deal by Matt. He also grabbed an Uncanny X-Men 282. So this is the first cameo of Bishop with, a really cool cover. First cameo of Bishop. 282 for $107.50, sorry. And I think this one occasionally will go under 100. You know, maybe if you're lucky on this one, you get it closer to $90. I would think is like the lower end of fair market value. Where the higher end is probably about 120 to 125 if someone wanted this, you know, right away kind of deal. But yeah, 107.50, a fair price for first Bishop Cameo. We don't talk about the first Bishops too much. I do tend to like, you know, the first Jubilee, the first Mr. Sinister, you know, even first Gambit over this book. But maybe that's my mistake, a bit of an underfollowed one, I think. So yeah, Uncanny X-Men 282, 107.50 is a fair price, I think. So Figs had talked to me on Instagram, and he let me know that he himself had personally sold a Batman Beyond #1 and an Edge of Spider-Verse 2 to the same buyer. And yeah, get this, he sold his Batman Beyond #1 for $1,500, and he sold his Edge of Spider-Verse 2 for $1,000. Yeah, so he mentioned to me maybe 4 or 5 days ago, so this is just like peak. You know, Miles Morales hype. It was like maybe on the day where that PS5 announcement came out, and Edge of Spider-Verse 2, you know, Spider-Verse 2 rumors, obviously. So Edge of Spider-Verse 2 was really heating up. So I think these are really good examples of like the higher end of fair market value. Like I think great job for Figs there being savvy, but I think, you know, these are going to be probably look back and be like, wow, like you know, this person kind of paid up in that sort of coronavirus stimulus check environment. But Batman Beyond #1, CGC 9.8 sold for $1,500. Edge of Spider-Verse #2 sold for CGC 9.8 sold for $1,000. And also I saw another, it was on a comment section of one of our videos where I think the commenter had sold his Batman Beyond, and it was like 1,175 or something like that. If my memory's correct. So, yeah, I think just about this week, that sort of Batman Beyonds #1s are going for over $1,000. So, yeah, definitely some evidence that the market's not cooling off there. So Jason had got to me, it was about a week ago, so a little bit before I think Figs had sold his Edge of Spider-Verse #2, because Jason bought an Edge of Spider-Verse #2 for $575 shipped. So, I mean, that's looking like a pretty good price, and, you know, when one is selling for $1,000 a couple days later. You know, for me, I think Edge of Spider-Verse 2 is one I've mentioned where it's not too rare in the 9.8, so it doesn't really compare that well to an NYX #3 or an Ultimate Follow #4. Just in that 9.8 rarity, those other two books being a lot more rare. So I think this one shouldn't really be more than NYX #3. So the fact that it went for $1,000, I think, is going to be an overpay. But $575 shipped, still less than NYX #3. I think it could really settle right around this sort of $550 to $650 price range. Then NYX #3 is like $750 to $850 in the 9.8, and then Ultimate Fallout 4 is maybe settling around $1,000, you know, 1,000, 1,100 maybe. That could, you know, be where these issues settle. But yeah, Jason, Edge of Spider-Verse #2 for $575 shipped is a pretty decent deal in this environment. All right, that's the team books. If you do have any completed listings you're seeing, or you bought a CGC 9.8 yourself, let me know on Instagram. Yeah, just add me, and I'll have the links in the description below, and send me a message. So let's just get the Ultimate Follow 4s out of the way here, because seeing a couple of the second print sell, which I got a really nice kind of raw copy of the second print. But Ultimate Follow 4, let's look into the first prints here, because 4 or 5 days ago, seeing a couple sell. I saw one sell for $1,225. One also sold for $1,350. And in the last couple days here, one went in an auction, Ultimate Follow 4, CGC 9.8, for $1,125 in an auction. So that, I think, is getting closer to the sort of settled fair market value price for this book, which, you know, for me, as I mentioned, is probably going to be about $1,000. So maybe with Ultimate Follow 4, we're seeing a bit of, okay, like, you know, maybe 1,500 is a little bit too much, closer to that, and then one in an auction. Just, I think it was yesterday or the day before, it went for $1,125, the first print of the Ultimate Follow 4. So, I saw this one too. I wanted to let you guys know. An Ultimate Follow 4 signature series sold by, it was signed by Bendis and Jonathan Hickman. And, so double signed, you know, not Mark Bagley's signature, so that, you know, you'd like to maybe have Bagley sign this one, but didn't really matter on this one. It's still the two, author, you know, writers, so that's sweet. Double signed Ultimate Fallout 4 first print, $3,500 it sold for. In a buy it now with like $60 shipping it was to Canada or something like that, so probably a normal shipping to the US, but $3,500 for, I mean, this is, I think, going to be a bit of an overpay as well. Like, you know, if the normal one in the blue label is going for $1,125, are each of these people's signature worth over $1,000 each? I think absolutely not. So, a bit of an overpay, I think time will kind of show for that one. This will be kind of a bubble overpay for whoever bought that. Ultimate Fallout 4, second print in the CGC 9.8. So this one here, saw a couple of them sell. This one's really coming to the forefront as one. And, it does make sense because I mentioned, he just looks more like Latino and black on this cover because you can see his face and stuff. So I think that would resonate with, those collectors that are buying it for that. And I think that book really is kind of heating up. And yeah, some of the prices here, $660 and $695. Yeah, the $660 was in an auction too with, quite a few bids. And the $695 was like one of those buy it nows, but it was an auction with like the first bid set at $695. So that's pretty much a buy it now, I would say. So I did see that Pacelli second print sell with the close-up of his face for $450. Yeah, I saw a complete listing for that one. So that one's heating up too, and that's pretty insane. For both of these, I think this one, I remember it going for like $110, $125 in the CGC 9.8, like just 4 or 5 months ago, let's call it. And that Pacelli second print was like, in an auction, you get it for like 60 or 70 bucks, I think, in the CGC 9.8 for that one. So wow, these books have come so far. And I really like this second print, yeah. And I actually have a 9.8 of this coming in, and we'll definitely have an unbox video coming up for that one. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Still waiting on a vendor I'm kind of working with there. So okay, that's all the Ultimate Follows. Yeah, so the second print's heating up. The first print in an auction going for $1,125, maybe just cooling off a tad from that, $1,300, $1,400. A couple of them went over. So next book here, I saw Batman 423 sell for $599. So call it $600. Let's call it. Batman 423 is a book that I love. I have 2 of them in the 9.8, and there's only 98 last time I looked on the census, just under 100 of them in the blue label CGC 9.8. So only 100 of them out there. And if you want this book, yeah, it's one that used to go in an auction when I'd see them for sort of like $375 to $400. But now it's just, you never see these hardly pop up. And, when they do and it's over $500, they're purchased absolutely really fast. And a newsstand 9.8 posted really quick for $420 and someone bought it on the team. And that, I think, was just someone who was maybe not looking at the prices in the last year and was selling it based on old prices. Because, I think $420 for a newsstand, you could probably sell that, obviously, $599 going for a direct. I think a newsstand you could sell for $800 probably. That would probably sell in a buy it now. If you just had that up on eBay for a month or two, $800 or $900, I could see that selling. So wow, someone on the team there got such a great deal, and he did comment that he purchased the Batman 423 newsstand for $420. But Batman 423 first print direct sold for $599. Next book, Teen Titans number 12. So the first full appearance of Batman Who Laughs, a modern book that I absolutely love. Pretty much my favorite modern villain kind of thing. Yeah, Batman Who Laughs is kind of a corrupted Batman and Joker in like an alternate universe, part of like the Dark Knight's Metal series that was a big hit. So first, this is kind of the book to get for the most expensive one too. And the 9.8 ratio for a modern book on this book is like, it's neck and neck with Ultimate Fallout 4. It's like 32%, so it's the same rarity as an Ultimate Fallout 4. Yet it came out only 2-3 years ago in 2017, so it's newer. So this is a bit of an anomaly in the modern grade where, like most modern books, the 9.8 ratios are like 80%, 90% of all graded copies, 80%, 75%. But you never see one with 32%. It's just, so pretty rare in the 9.8. I saw 2 of them sell this week in my research for $400 each. So I think, this is a book, I think it did kind of heat up there around 500, let's call it like 2-3 weeks ago. I saw a couple sell for that. So I think this is one that, you still want to be patient and try to get it near the lower end of fair market value, which I would say is probably like $375-ish. But if you really want it and you got a long-term time horizon like me and you're just, you like the Batman Who Laughs, this is definitely the book to get. This is the first print version. You don't want to get that like convention one that looks exactly the same. This is the one that's more rare in the 9.8 and it's more expensive because of it, but that rarity I think will be positive in the long term and lots of potential with the Batman Who Laughs. And this is the book to get. So right around $400 I think is a fair price. If you really want it, I think you could pay $400 for it. Yeah, with that low CGC 9.8 ratio for a modern, it stands out to me, in modern books. And yeah, I got 3 or 4 Raws in the first print, and it's another one that, if a nice deal popped up in Canada, maybe I can get one for $350 or something. I'd probably insta-buy to get another one of these. So I was pretty pumped to see a Guardians of the Galaxy #1 from 2008, the first full appearance and origin of the new team, Guardians of the Galaxy team from the MCU, the one that like everyone's kind of familiar with. So a big book that I've been mentioning, like it's pretty undervalued and it's got a really low CGC 9.8 ratio, lower than Ultimate Fallout 4, more rare than Ultimate Fallout 4 first print in the CGC 9.8. So it's a book I mentioned as it's being undervalued, but I saw one sell, Guardians of the Galaxy #1 CGC 9.8 for $350. And yeah, I mean, I grabbed mine for $165 and my second one for $190. And Go Collect still has this for $175. Like I don't know what's going on with Go Collect, but the team was kind of letting me know like this is really hard to get under $300. Despite Go Collect having it for $170, and I hadn't really seen very many completed listings on eBay for it, being a pretty rare book, but did see one this morning on my research for $350. So, yeah, you know what? I think, anywhere under $300 for this one is probably going to be a great deal long-term, I think, if you got the long-term time horizon, certainly like I do. And we're in between Guardians of the Galaxy movies, so Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out. I think this book's going to hit hard then, and I think the collector community is starting to pay attention to that really low 9.8 rarity. So, yeah, even at $350, you can justify it. It's more rare than Ultimate Fallout 4, which is like $1,000 right now. And, first Miles Morales, first new team Guardians of the Galaxy, pretty comparable. Like, I think Spider-Man Miles Morales have maybe arguably the upper hand with that direct comparison. But they're pretty on the same level, like, as far as just popularity, coolness, and, yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy #1 sold for $350. Hopefully, maybe get it under $300 if you can. I saw Secret Wars #8 sell. So Marvel's Superhero Secret Wars, Origin of the Symbiote Costume, really popular 80s book. This one was looking really good, but it's going to definitely go down as an overpay. Someone paid $395 in the CGC 9.8 for this one. Yeah, kind of nice colors on the cover. It wasn't perfectly centered, but the colors were nice. I have to admit, but usually this book kind of goes for like $260, even under $250, you can, I remember this even going for $200 sort of, 6 to 8 months ago, sort of before all this coronavirus stimulus check hype. So to see one go for $395, I just think is, certainly an overpay. I think even in this environment, I'm still seeing like $275 is a decent deal for this book, $260. So $395 for Secret Wars is just a little bit too much. Hopefully get that closer. Yeah, $250 to $275, let's call it in this environment. Wolverine #1 limited series. Saw one of these sell. And, I mentioned the Frank Miller signings are kind of heating up Frank Miller books, certainly. And, Wolverine limited series, this book I have in the CGC 9.8, and I bought it for $276. And but one sold this week for $400 again. And yeah, they were heating up during that Frank Miller signing for $400. And I'd mentioned, like, I'd never really seen these go for that much. A couple price videos ago, there was some that went for $350. So, yeah, I think maybe $400 is a higher part of fair market value right now, whereas like $325, $350 is going to be the lower end right now. Still kind of a pretty hot book from this whole Frank Miller signing. And a classic book, but yeah, for me, just probably one you'd want to wait to get closer to $300 because it's not too rare in the 9.8 for how old it is. Such a classic book, though. I mean, it is one to recommend, but yeah, hopefully closer to $300 for Wolverine Limited Series #1, CGC 9.8. So a book that I have had sold, and I mentioned that it was kind of cold on some of our videos, but it's a Batman Harley Quinn, the Alex Ross cover. It's the first appearance of Harley Quinn in the DC continuity and origin. So it is a classic key issue for sure. I mentioned mine. I grabbed it for $290, and there was one on eBay for like $325 that had sold not too long ago. And I was like, yeah, that's probably the higher end of fair market value, whereas, like, I think you could still kind of get this for under $300 if you're really lucky. But one had sold, and the research this morning saw one for $450. So, this is a really classic cover to, so much so that I think it can really, get to that 400 level and over. But, yeah, maybe this is a book that is somewhat heating up a little bit, given... just given that, I do like some of the other Harley Quinn books. This is probably my third favorite. Mad Love and Batman Adventures 12 being so rare for a 1990s book in the CGC 9.8. But, I really used to kind of seeing this go around 300, so I think 450 is a bit of an overpay, but it'll be interesting to kind of see moving forward here for Batman Harley Quinn, because great cover, so it could just really, on that, the coolness of the cover alone could really maybe get on a bit of a run here in this market. I saw Secret Wars #1 from 1984, kind of the 80s Secret Wars series, the original series. I think this is a decent book to maybe go after because, it'd be really easy to sort of do a Secret Wars movie moving forward here with the Avengers movies being such a hit, and you can include so many heroes in this type of movie. So I think Secret Wars #1 sold for $145. In my research, even if you're super patient on this, maybe you get it for like $125-ish. But I think this is kind of maybe a good book to go after if you like this book. Like, I don't think I personally want to purchase it. I'm not really nostalgic for it in any way, but if you were sort of maybe thinking about, like some of these movies that could come out in the future, I think, Secret Wars #1 for less than $150 is kind of a good buy in this environment, with hopes that, if a Secret Wars movie comes out, this is easily like $350. For sure you could sell this if there was like Secret Wars is now being made by MCU, like certainly a over $300 book for sure. So Secret Wars #1 could be a good stab right now. I saw Batman The Dark Knight Returns #1 sell, in CGC 9.8. Old case one, looking kind of, I mentioned the inner well scuffing on the CGC slabs for this book is pretty important because it's such a simple cover, so you see them. This one was all scuffed up, like it's even worse than mine, and it was in an old case, so sold for $770 though. So yes, that's a pretty fair value, I would say. I remember seeing a really nice one kind of going for, it was like $740, I think it was, in a new case. So this one's in an old case, looking kind of scuffed up, to be honest. Although the book's not scuffed, it's like the inner well scuffing on the slabs, if you're familiar with that. But kind of annoying on this book. So $770 though. One did sell, a classic Frank Miller Batman book. You can't go wrong with that as far as a Batman investment grade book. I would like one more. I have one in the CGC 9.8. I would like one more. I saw Batman Legends of the Dark Knight #120 sell. This is a really cool 90s book that I really like. It's one I remember from the collecting in the 90s, and I have it in the CGC 9.8. I bought it right at this price. So one sold for $110. This is the first new Batgirl in her costume. Because the first appearance of new Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, is in Batman 567. And you get the cool kind of cover, but apparently she's not in the costume on that. This one comes out a month or two later, I think it is. And it's the first time ever in comics she's like in the new Batgirl costume. So a bit of an underfollowed 90s book. I bought mine for about $110 too. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight #120. There's I'm pretty sure there's less than 50 of those in the CGC 9.8. And kind of a cool, it's not the first appearance of Cassandra Cain, but the first time she's in the Batgirl costume. I mean, that's almost like first Batgirl, so that's what my thinking was. I bought that one about a year ago, being a big Batman fan, and I got both. I got the Batman 567 and Legends of the Dark Knight 120. Both pretty cool 90s underfollowed Batman books with the Cassandra Cain Batgirl first appearance. That one sold for $110. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight 120. I saw Sandman #1 sell for $429.95. I think this is a good price for a Sandman #1. I remember seeing this book I think it was like maybe a year ago. There were some rumblings that like there was going to be a Sandman series or something was going to happen with Sandman, and saw a lot of these go for over $500. Yeah, and then CGC 9.8, tough to get this under 500. But a Sandman #1, it's like first appearance of Morpheus, Neil Gaiman, really popular writer. $429.95, I think is a really good price. Yeah, for a Sandman #1. Yeah, right around 400, I think, for this book right now is actually a book you can get out there right now and buy for like a decent price for how good of an investment grade book it is. Yeah, I think it came out in like 89, kind of the late 80s book. Really popular, kind of cult followed series. So, an Amazing Spider-Man #4. This is Cindy Moon Becomes Silk. I saw two of these sold for the same price, $179 right now. And yeah, this is a book that seems to be heating up, and there's people kind of paying up to like $200 for this book. Whereas, before I'd sort of saw it when this was a little bit more of an under-followed key, but there wasn't any like mainstream rumors or anything like that. This would go for sort of like $125, $135 kind of deal. But yeah, seems to be heating up, and I'm not too sure of the rumors, to be honest. It's not a book that I have, and a bit out of the hobby during this time for me, so it's not one that it's been on kind of my want list or anything like that, but it is a well-collected key. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man #4, CGC 9.8 for $179 they're selling for about right now. And the last comic on the list is a Detective 880s. Detective Comics 880, the classic Joker cover. The kind of low-printed cover there from, I think it's like 2010 or something like that. Detective 880, a Batman book that I don't have. I have included it on kind of one of my Batman videos, and it's pretty rare in the 9.8, so I can kind of see how the prices are really expensive for this book. They really always have, certainly for the last 3 years that I've been collecting 9.8s. But Detective Comics 880 sold for $475. And the best deal I've ever saw on this in like a CGC 9.8 auction was basically like $375. So, this was a buy it now, $475. A little bit of a pay up maybe, but, if you're patient on this one, hopefully you get it around $400, I think is the, like, bang on really good fair price. But $475, not too bad either. And, classic Joker cover. And, yeah, still probably one, it's a little bit too expensive for me for kind of what it is, especially when you could go buy like a Batman 366, which is a really cool classic 80s Joker cover for a lot less money than this. So I'd rather have a book like that than pay over $400 for a Detective 880. But yeah, some people just are so nostalgic for this book, and it is low print, and Joker fanatics for sure too are willing to pay over $400 for sure. $475 a Detective 880 sold for. Okay, that'll be it for the list here. That's the full list. I will have all the list with the prices in the description below, so you can kind of follow along quicker there. But yeah, so interesting price list, I think. Like, there are some books there where it's like, wow, that's an overpay. Like, so I don't think the market's kind of cooling off really yet. But then you see Ultimate Fallout 4, like maybe a week ago, that could have possibly been the peak intermittently, like for the short term here with Ultimate Fallout 4 with, I think, one was like $1,425, and then the one in an auction just going yesterday for $1,125. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ultimate Fallout 4, and the second print is just heating up so much. Yeah, over 600 for this one, the last two completed listings on eBay. But yeah, I always say on these videos, like, one of the best things you could do if you're actively buying CGC 9.8 comic books is just to stay on top of these prices, do more research on the prices, then the fair market value of the books that you want, so then when you see on eBay someone's trying to get like $100 or $200 more for CGC 9.8, just to be patient, or maybe you message them and try to get a better deal kind of thing. So, it helps me so much, I know, doing these pricing videos now for probably about 8 or 9 months, really good handle on, what are the fair values for a lot of these CGC 9.8 key issues that I really want, and then it's a lot harder for me to overpay now because it's just, I know the fair prices, and it's, it gets kind of cringy when I'm really overpaying too much, so I don't try to do that too often anymore. Whereas when I first started the channel, I made a lot of videos about being a noob and overpaying and stuff like that. So much more knowledge and information. That's always going to do you well when you're looking to kind of save money and purchase some of these really cool rare comics for the best price you can possibly get them for. So, all right, yeah, great pricing video today with some good information. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, I invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Hit the bell to get all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter as well. But thanks again for the support. Message me on Instagram too if you had anything to talk about, wanted to talk about comics or whatever it might be. But yeah, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you on the next one.